What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 691 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles. I am by myself today, sort of. At least physically by myself, but I'm joined via, for JD Raider, Corncob TV satellite, and Ben Askren coming at us from Wisconsin. What's going on, fellas?
Don't I get Cheesehead satellite or something?
What, you get a satellite? You want a satellite too, Ben?
Well, you called him Corncob satellite, so I get a cheese
satellite.
Or a nice Guernsey.
Corncob TV has my favorite show, Coffin Flop, on it. That's why I was referencing that. You should check it out. Google.
Wait, is this serious or is this a joke?
It's a joke. It's from our favorite show, I Think You Should Leave, which is not my favorite show because my favorite.
I don't know that show either.
Well, you should watch it. It's very funny.
I don't know any shows. I know one show, which we need to talk about today, Christian Piles.
Yeah,
You're wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
Omar passed away yesterday. Hey, and I want to. Someone brought this up on Twitter, and then I put my piece in. It's like, what do you think the whole point of The Wire was? And if there was one for you, and obviously you can change by person.
I think it was the show. Well, I kind of take it from David Simon, the creator. He said it's about institutions and about how those institutions within a city are all connected. And when you take the drug trade, you take the breakdown of the family, you take cops, you take the legal system in general, corrections, schools, industry, and how it all works together, and all the failures and successes of those are connected and create many of the problems you see in the world today, specifically in cities. So I think it's about those institutions. And I think the other part of it is kind of what you referenced, Ben, like the sort of there's good and bad kind of on every side of these different little communities. From the drug trade, there were clear good guys and bad guys, even though they're all drug dealers. And there were good cops and bad cops, even though they're supposed to, all be on the side of truth. Politics, longshoremen, et cetera, et cetera. The fake news media. There was fake news, right? They were
all the way back then.
Yeah,
all the way
right.
Back then there was fake news.
That's season 5 is great for that reason. So, I think that the kind of the good and bad on within everyone and in all walks of life is an important thing to consider as well. But that's what I think it's about.
It is fascinating and I mean, I guess one of the couple things I took from it is like how hard it is to change your path in life. And I know this is a fictitious TV show, but I think it had a lot of reality to it. And then obviously, like you said, the good and the bad. And it's like, dude, you'd have to be really dense to watch that show and not recognize that there's some reality in it and not say, wow, that guy's a drug dealer, but he seems like a really honest, moral person, despite the fact that he's a drug dealer. And then there's that cop who, we put up there in the really high level professions of honorableness. Is that their word? Honorableness? I don't know. We'll see. And there's some really bad ones who have really bad character and really bad morals. And so I think like when you just start thinking about it a little more deeply, the world obviously isn't as simple as a lot of people want to make it out to be. And the difference between right and wrong is lots of times blurred.
Yeah, no question. And you see, and I think when I first watched the show, I just thought this is the most real thing I've ever watched on TV in terms of like a show that wasn't actually true, right? It's like, man,
Yes.
It's like you could tell that it was just a really well-researched and vetted thing. There was no sensationalism. I never felt like they were turning the volume. Maybe there's some aspects where they were a little exaggeratory, but it just felt so authentic to me, which I think is another thing I really appreciated about The Wire. And yeah, you talk about like, there's a lot of pull yourself up by your bootstraps type of thing. But then you look at someone like Duquan, right? This kid and like the circumstance, Dookie. Yeah. And just like, man, horrible parents, no one cared for him. He just slips through the cracks and this kid ends up, it's basically the saddest.
That was the most depressing part of the show to me is like, you got this kid, Dookie, who just like, you can see so badly he wants to be good, and he wants to do right, and he wants to make the right decisions. And I don't know if it's the last episode, but it's very close to the end of the show. And he's doing heroin. It's like, damn it. Like, how did we freaking end up here? This kid who had the right intentions all the way up, and then now we're here, and this sucks.
Another thing I think they were trying to show, like how cyclical it was, like
Sure.
what I saw with the kids as they quote grew up, they all kind of fell into roles within like the that other prominent characters were. Like Dookie is clearly on the path
Mm,
of Bubbles, and Randy
mm,
is like on the sort of a stringer prop Joe businessman kind of path.
mm.
Michael
Good
is
point.
obviously Omar. He's robbing drug dealers in the last episode.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And then one guy got out. What was his name with the ponytail? Weebay's
Yeah.
son.
Man.
I can't remember
Yeah.
Weebay's son name.
I don't remember his head, but he actually got out.
Yeah,
So
he
it's
got out.
possible.
He got out.
Yes.
So that was like one of the six kind of got out of the game. So anyway, rest in peace to Michael K. Williams. Played Omar Little, probably one of the coolest TV characters ever. The courtroom scene is like one of my favorites ever. Him antagonizing Bird and like giving the Barksdale lawyer a bunch of grief. So awesome
Yeah.
show. Very sad to lose him, and yeah, very shows the stranglehold that addictions can have on people too. Is he someone that struggled with substance abuse and so yeah,
Hmm.
very sad, very sad. Weird way to start the week. But as you know, I talk about The Wire all the time, so it's worth 5 minutes of our
Great
time.
show. I don't watch any shows, but I recommend The Wire.
Heck yeah. So it is World Team Trials Week. We're so excited about that. We dropped in very Nick Soriano like fashion. We dropped a film with little promotion or fanfare, or we kind of kept it under the radar, and then boom, just kind of gave you this gift. So Ben, you watched it. We all watched it. Curious for your thoughts and impressions.
You know what I was annoyed by? I was annoyed by how many times I was drinking out of this coffee cup. It was like 90% of the time they showed the same referral. I was drinking out of the same coffee cup.
It's no wonder
Um,
you pee so much, Ben.
it was a large cup. It was great. I think that's the most extended I've ever got to hear Nick Serrano talk. Like I don't remember watching any long form interviews of him, and that wasn't long form, but there
Right.
was quite a bit there. So I really like that. We kind of loosely knew how his last 18 months, 2 years looked, but we weren't really sure. So it's kind of nice to have him walk us through that. Um, for us, it's kind of I don't want to say it's glanced over in history now, but the fact that he may have been the favorite for the world team trials, Olympic team trials, and COVID tested positive like that, freaking oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking. I don't want to say you almost forget about it, but you almost do because Gilman did so well, but
Mm-hmm.
he was the favorite. So I think those are probably my main takeaways.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, him talking about being because I remember thinking like, how is he taking it? How is someone like this handling that kind of news? Because
Yeah.
this is no surprise. There's wrestling. The best wrestlers produce a lot of I don't know if I want to say imbalance, but when you put all your focus on one thing, how do
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
it's one thing to like lose a match, but like to have it be something like that. And I think
Yes.
not just down, but broken in half. I thought that was like a powerful phrase just about the emotion he was feeling, not getting to even try, right? Um,
Yeah, no, dude, I mean, to compete at that, like, to your point, you're totally right. I don't know. I think imbalance is a good word to
yeah,
use for that, but um, the very best in any field generally have to spend so much time and focus on that field that they don't have a lot else going on in their life, and he seems to be no exception. And so, when that one moment you've been building up to for years is just you didn't lose it, you didn't even get to find out the answer, which is
yeah,
probably the hardest part, right? Is how would that have gone? We have no idea. He has no idea. I mean, he probably thinks, but he didn't get to test his hypothesis. So, man, that is yeah, very difficult. And he probably doesn't want to hear this, but I'm sure it will give him some perspective moving down the road in some way, shape, or form that experience that he had.
yes, no, for sure it will. And I think well, another one of the interesting parts was with Mark Perry when him saying, when I interviewed him in Tokyo, he's like he just randomly showed up. Like this wasn't some Mark reaches out to
Yeah, for real,
Nick.
right?
This isn't like some sun kissed thing. Like, hey Nick, come in here, Trey. He's just like this dude just rolls up in Arizona and just starts
So
training,
funny.
and like he was just He was a soldier. That is how Nick Suriano is that this guy just shows up someplace. Everyone wants him at their affiliated with their school, with their club, with their whatever, and he just shows up. No fanfare, no like recruiting seemingly. He just rolled up. Yes.
So funny.
Yeah. So pretty crazy. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed it. We're looking forward to seeing Nick and the rest of the 61 kilogram contingent go at World Team Trials starting Saturday, which will be freaking fantastic. Excited about that. JD, you got some news for us? Some registration news?
Yeah, it's actually some unfortunate news. Anthony Ashnault is out of World Team Trials.
We talked about
Wait, what happened?
We talked about how bad he lost to Yanni, and then next thing you know, he's out of the thing.
Yes. You too.
Injury, sickness, what we got?
I don't know. He's just out.
I'm not sure.
Okay, we're not sure.
We don't know.
Also,
I won't push you guys. Sometimes
Logan
you guys.
Massa.
What'd you say?
Because he was registered at 74, and there is no 74.
Correct. So I don't know if he's just not going up now, but he is not in the registration list anymore. Not even at 74.
Massa would be interesting at 79. Obviously, I don't see him. Well, I would imagine he doesn't go because it's Ranger's weight, and they're probably like, well, we don't want a Cliff Keen on Cliff Keen thing.
But I don't know. I feel like at that level, I don't know if you really think that way, especially when it's not like they're number 1 and 2. With all the guys at that weight.
So maybe it's not that.
Yeah.
Another hypothesis.
Is Massa, has he said that he's going to wrestle or not this year?
That's what I was wondering. If you're just a wrestler now, you would think you would enter this tournament at 79. But if you're But if you're going to wrestle collegiately, it could make some sense to not go for the team, and then if you make the team, which he would be a long shot to make the team, obviously 79. But maybe just focus on folk style. He's been in and out of the folk style freestyle thing for a couple of years now because
for a while
he's been doing the red shirt thing. He did one Olympic red shirt, and then last year he ended up wrestling.
Yep.
So quite a lengthy career for Logan Massa. But I don't know. I haven't heard what the situation is with the Michigan contingent.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those two are out, but as far as we know, everyone else is still in.
Can we talk about one more piece of news before we get to the World Team Trials?
Oh yeah.
I didn't scroll down far enough. It's in there. Gable reportedly signs with WWE. There was some pretty good sources on this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it's true. Obviously, he put this, which did not explicitly outline what he did, but there was a lot of other media outlets who I deem as to be relatively trustworthy. They were putting it out there, and I think that's the move, guys. I think that's the right move for sure for him. I think he's going to be a global superstar, and then by the time he's a global superstar, he'll still be plenty young. And if he wants to go fight, he can go fight. He'll make a whole bunch of money doing it.
Yeah, so I think we may see him. There's a WWE event this weekend at Madison Square Garden. I think we might see him then.
Oh, a big one?
That's just, I don't know. I don't know if they're big or small wrestling.
Well, if it's like say like a Royal Rumble or one of those things, like those are big. Right. SummerSlam, WrestleMania.
I don't know if they've had SummerSlam yet. It's still technically summer. Oh, it's SmackDown at MSG, according to Tyler. I do not know that, but I don't know how big SmackDown is compared to other wrestling things.
Well, I say that there's two main shows every week. There's Raw and SmackDown, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But that's not one of their. It's not one of their like pay-per-view events.
Got it. So what is this on USA? How do you watch it?
How am I supposed to know some stuff like this?
I don't know. You don't know? You're Mr. WWE. You've been to the Performance Center. You rolled around with Triple H. What am I supposed to think? I figured
I didn't get to roll around with him.
Oh, you were bouncing off the turnbuckles. You were rolling with them.
No, that was a month after my surgery. I was almost about to get off crutches.
Okay. Yeah. So you didn't hand fight with Triple H after all.
I did not hand fight.
You were talking a lot of trash that you took his belt.
Gable to WWE, congratulations. And yeah, man, he's gonna be great.
I am allowed to be sad, right? I don't have to be.
Oh,
like,
you know who
excited
else is
he's
making
doing
their
this.
WWE debut this week, Christian? You're gonna be fired up about this one.
It's unlikely, but go ahead.
No, you're gonna be fired up. You don't know who it is?
Is it Casper?
Yeah, Julius Creed, aka Jacob Casper, will make his TV debut this week. That's his new name, Julius Creed.
Julius Creed?
Yes.
Why Creed? The
Somehow
famous
call it.
90s.
I didn't pick his name. How much is something like that?
The 90s rock band? It's like
His
it sounds like the adopted son
name
of Apollo
is Julius
Creed.
Creed.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
Jacob Casper. That was good. He had some sort of a ghost theme, you know? There's not many ghouls in WWE as I've come to understand it.
Oh my gosh.
There's very little of a haunting element. The Undertaker,
Christian-
is the Undertaker still exist? I don't know.
I think he's retired. I listened to it when he's on Rogan. It was a really great show. I think he's done from the sounds of it. But man, I think you're kind of like you're making
resting
light
place.
of WWE, and I can't wait till Jacob Casper sees you and puts a smackdown on your ass.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Listen, hey, listen, Jacob, Gable, I will watch you wrestle wrestling matches every day. I'm not as interested in ones where there's no competition. It's just a show. You know? It's like, I don't know.
Wow.
There's better shows than that, right? You know, in my opinion.
Well, in your
Wire.
opinion, obviously.
Huh? The Wire.
The Wire.
Monday Night Raw. No, just kidding. I mean, I'm happy for them, but I'm not happy about it. You know, if this is what you want to do it. But I don't have to enjoy it or celebrate it.
Now, just because Gable technically signed or makes an appearance, that doesn't mean he's 100% done with Minnesota wrestling, correct?
Well, I was thinking about this because NLI, I don't think that says you can go get another career. You can get sponsorships and use your name, image, and likeness. But if you were to sign, it's essentially as a profession, right? I mean, it's an employment contract. I think that would preclude you from doing college athletics, I believe.
Sort of strange. I would imagine if he's truly signed with WWE, maybe he signed with WWE and it's like the contract starts after NCAAs. I guess that's technically possible.
It's technically possible, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come back and do one more season with the U, but maybe not. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
I hope he do, but I'll understand. It's kind of like you got to make hay while the sun's shining. This is like your window. You just won the Olympics. Will there be a better time to do this? I don't think so.
Hey, listen, Jeff Baxter in the comments. He's annoying me right now because listen, our show is about wrestling. It absolutely is, which includes people who wrestle, which includes Jacob Casper and Gable Stevenson. And listen, I don't love them just for the wrestling matches. I hope all wrestlers do well after they leave wrestling in whatever endeavor that they're choosing. And these people will be doing very highly public endeavors. And I wish both them luck, and I'm interested in. And I think the other thing, and I think I mentioned this on the show before, but I think it's so tremendous that someone like Gable in our sport of amateur wrestling, as they call it, is commanding so much interest. I mean, it's like he's gotten extremely popular just through the sport of wrestling. And now he's got all these other career paths he can choose. I think that's great. And I think it speaks a lot to where we are that we can produce really highly popular athletes.
Yeah, no question. It's certainly a huge wrestling topic. An Olympic champion is going to leave the sport. That's insane. Yes. Right? And whatever he was doing, if he was going into whatever, professional baseball or any other profession, he's going to be a carpenter, it'd be huge news. So the fact that, I don't like fake wrestling either, but not going to not talk about Gable Stevenson going to WWE. It's huge news if it happens. Yeah. Okay, you want to get into, so our man John Kozak gave his best run at predicting the seeds for World Team Trials. I figured we take the top 8, we put them in our little bracket, and we start to make some predictions on how these will go. What do you say, boys?
Sounds great to me. Let's do it.
Let's start with 61, where we have the top 8 seeds, as predicted by John. Graf, Fix, Colon, Gross, Soriano, Tomasello, Mack, and Garrett. This is ferocious. This is a really,
So
really.
where the hell did Tyler Graff go the last couple of years?
Well, I don't think it was a couple of years.
Didn't he do Greco or something?
He did do Greco. Tyler Graff's a man of mystery, but he's the last guy
Well,
to make the team.
He made the team in 2019, which would have been roughly 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Has he wrestled any freestyle matches since then?
I believe so. Hold on.
The 2021 Mateo Pelcon.
Yes.
What weight did he wrestle?
did.
Oh, was it 61?
61. Yes,
Okay.
but that is it. Those are his only freestyle matches since.
Man, I have a hard time seating someone that high, given the fact that he's only competed in a couple freestyle matches in the last, what are we talking? Two-ish years, probably more than if he made the team in what, May or June of 2019. It's more than 2 years.
Well, I'll say this: he wrestled at 2020 Pan Ams apparently, where he beat a man named Scott Schiller, who is not that Scott Schiller, but he's a Canadian. But I'll say, listen, in general I would agree with you, Ben. But what's his weight class? A non-Olympic weight. So they took away his weight class, and he just said, "Well, the heck with me cutting down to 57. The heck with me going up to 65. I'll see you when my weight comes back." He's a 133-pound guy. He wants to wrestle at his optimal weight, so I wouldn't punish him for that. Personally, that's my read. So if he gets the one,
man, it's tough though. But it's really tough because that's such a long time. Chris, that's 2 years. It's such a long time.
He wrestled in 2020.
One time, JD just said at the Mateo Pelcon.
Yeah, so
that was 2021.
2021.
Oh, 2021 Mateo Pelcon. But then, so he
Yes.
didn't wrestle any matches in 2020 because he was doing some Greco, correct?
He wrestled
Ams.
Pan Ams. He won 11-0 over Scott Schiller, who had the
But
cut
that
of his
is-
lifetime.
And what else?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Not much.
So,
But he's still out here. I mean, I don't know. Where would you seat him? It's the last guy to make the team at this weight. Where would you put him?
Okay, Mateo Pelcon, he went 1-2. He lost to Kazakhstan. He lost to Otley from Turkey. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like I feel like it's very difficult to seat him given the fact that he has not competed with any of these guys. That's this freaking Olympic weight thing. It's so annoying.
Highlight.
I don't know. I guess we'll leave him there. It's I don't want to say off-putting, but it is weird that he has not really competed in anything. And we haven't seen him in roughly 2 years too much, and now all of a sudden we're gonna put him as the number one seed.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but that's what we're going with. I mean, I don't know where you put him otherwise. I mean, can you put him behind Soriano? Probably not.
So it seems like Soriano's been doing a lot of winning in the last year and a half. I mean, he's done really well at pretty much everything he's competed in.
USA
57.
Wrestling has historically given a lot of precedent to world team trials and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So I think they'll lean on that. So that sets up these quarters, potentially. Graf versus Nashon, Gross versus Soriano, Colon, Tomasello, and Mack versus Fix. So right away, Graf versus Nashon Garrett, insane matchup. This was not the Final X match in 2019 because that was against Cologne, but they're the last two guys to make the world team at this weight class. Graf made it in 19, Nashon made it in 18, got injured, and Cologne took bronze. So a very, very credentialed first match. And there's such mystery here. How does Graf look? How does Nashon look?
Here's another one. It's like, are we punishing just Nashon because he hasn't wrestled at 61 either? He went up. He went up, obviously up, and he didn't do very well up because he's not a 65 kg guy.
Yeah.
Has Nashon wrestled at all at 61? He hasn't.
Not super recently. It's been a little bit.
Man,
so who do you got?
I'm picking between two guys I haven't seen wrestle at this weight class in a very long time. I I feel like Tyler Graff, he was the rep in 19. Let's hope he's still as sharp as he was then, and I'll go with him.
I like him because his parterre is so good.
Mhm.
And anyone that can turn at the level he can, versus Nishan, who one of his kryptonites is parterre defense, right? So
Yes.
factor all that in, and that's who I'm going with. Now then again, Nishan beat Tyler, I think, in their last meeting 5-2. This was at 61 in 2018. That was the year Nishan made the team. So super notable.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with Nishan.
You're going with Nishan. Maybe I should.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of feel like doing that also, to tell you the truth.
Well, there's so many questions around Graff.
Yeah.
And Nishan's actually been wrestling quite a bit, and he wrestled at 61 at Senior Nationals, but it did not go great. He lost to Josh Kramer in like a big shootout match. But at
Yeah.
the RTC Cup, I think that was plus 3 kilos. He wrestled 57, so it was actually 60 kilograms, and he beat Seth Gross. And I thought he looked pretty good there. He did drop a couple matches to Vito and Jack Mueller. But
Yeah.
I have less question marks actually about Nishan than Tyler Graff.
Well, my question is, like, so Nishan, I don't know where either of these guys are training. Well, I do. Nishan is at the Southeast RTC, but I think he lives in Tennessee. So I don't think he's there training like year-round kind of thing.
He goes there like once or twice a week. He lives outside of DC now, I think.
DC, okay.
Wait,
Yes.
DC? I thought we said Tennessee.
Well, I did too. I did say Tennessee. I think he was in Tennessee.
Well, our
He was there
61
for a
kilogram
little
field is the men of mystery. No one knows where anyone's
Yes.
training.
Yeah.
They're all on the down low. They're secret. They're running around. Secret training partners, secret moves. We don't know where they're competing at. What the heck's even going on here?
Yeah. So, yeah, let's just move on from this discussion. I mean, we're speculating. We haven't even seen these guys wrestle. I'm going with Graff. I have no idea.
Okay.
Next potential quarter is insane.
Gross Soriano. Oh, God.
Gross versus Soriano. They wrestled one time. It was a crazy match. Nick was up late, got in on a shot, and got tipped over. He got tricked a little bit there. Seth
He got freestyled a little bit. It
he
was
got
pretty impressive how Seth. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say Seth dangled the foot out there, tried to get him on the leg, and then Nick took the bait and got tipped for 2 and lost in the last 10 seconds of the match, ballpark.
Yeah.
So
well, I thought it was really interesting how Seth was able to generate that much power from that position. It was because it was not your traditional like crotch lift type position. He was turned over the other way, and yeah, it was just a really strange crotch lift that he did. So I was impressed that he was able to generate that much power from that position.
yeah, me too. It didn't look like. Yeah, I think he has some freaky strength from unorthodox positions that allow him to get some of the points he does. And he's like, it's an interesting thing because Seth, when you think about Seth and his game seems so folk style centric, but he was a Fargo champ and a junior Fargo champ. He's like always been good at freestyle. And he's really catered his weird style for freestyle in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
he's a really,
100%.
really unique sort. But I will take Soriano in this match. I think it's a good matchup for him. I think he was right there with minimal freestyle training, and now, I always thought the matchup was really favorable for Nick, and it wasn't as favorable as I thought it would be. Even going back to the Farrell, I thought Nick would kind of like have his way, and I was also team Seth Gross is not going to be functional at 57. I was in like that camp because I'm pretty sure
He was great that year.
I know,
First year was bad.
but I'm pretty sure this Bill Farrell was like his first time down or one of his first times down at 57. And I don't know if you remember this, Ben, but he like started a little, it didn't look great. He had like a sort of a shootout with someone he should kill. Then he had the close one with Soriano. Then he teched NATO in the finals.
Yes.
So going into that, I was team, he ain't going to be the same guy at 57, but he kind of was pretty close, all things considered. So now he's up at 61, definitely probably his ideal weight if he could pick it. So I don't think the weight's going to be a factor either way. But I think Soriano has the efficiency of his finishes to avoid some of the more problematic aspects. But one of the biggest questions with Soriano is his parterre defense. And you don't get to see it tested much because
almost ever.
No one really takes him down. So if someone can get on top, we'll see how they do. I'm trying to recall, maybe JD remembers during Rome how Soriano did defending parterre if he got taken down.
How many times did he get on bottom? I almost was 0, right?
It
or was it
was
1?
Not many. I think he definitely
Was
gave up
0
some
or 1?
points. He went overseas another tournament after that, and he didn't do as well. But I can't remember parterre how he was performing. So
the other thing about the Surrey, I mean, so I think my wrestling style is similar to Seth Gross's. So then when we think about wrestling Nick Suriano, one of the most annoying type of people for my style to wrestle is like the guys who are really disciplined in the position. They keep everything kind of locked in and tight, and you can't get to the positions where there's the 2-on-1 or the overhooks, and you can't wrestle from those positions that you want to wrestle from because that's usually where you spend a whole bunch of time. So that's and that was kind of what we saw in the first match with them. Also, obviously, Gross was able to trick or find a unique way to score, and it worked, right? But it was tough for him to get anything going against Nick Suriano.
Yes, it was. And the other thing that gave you problems in your career is those guys that figured out how to finish quickly, right? And limit the scrambles, absolutely. Right? So, and that's something that Suriano was doing really well against the tricky Azaris. He was able to finish with great efficiency and not let it come down to finishing an extended position.
Man, I just looked back at the trials bracket, and I guess I had forgotten this, but both Cologne and Gross forfeited after losing their after losing on the front side. So Cologne beat Gross first round. Gross is not wrestling any more matches. Cologne then loses to Gilman, and then he does not wrestle any more matches. So neither one of them wrestled at all on the backside.
Correct. Which made way for Nathan Tomasello, who will wrestle potentially Joe Cologne in the quarters, which put Nato on the national team because he wrestled back for third. Because basically it was 57 was a ghost town after everyone got eliminated.
For real, it really was.
Because like Dayton, Gross, and Cologne, I think all forfeited out, and maybe some others.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I'm on that page. So
no, you won't.
Cologne forfeited out. Gross forfeited out. Fix forfeited out. So it's those three.
That's a big three.
I mean, there's only like 10 competitors in this bracket.
Right.
9. There's 9. 3 of the 9 forfeited.
Yeah. Man, that's small. How big was the biggest men's freestyle bracket?
Not big. Don't you remember that the qualification was very difficult this time? So I would say 65 was the biggest, and it looks like it is 11 or 12 people.
Man, so no 16-man brackets.
Yeah, I mean 74 was 8, 86 was it's like 11 or 12 maybe. Yeah. 97 is also 8 people. Yeah, so none of them were big. Hey, man. I just saw this. Pat Downey was registered for Sanford MMA. This guy, is he going to start fighting ever or what?
Who?
Or is he wrestling 79 kg this weekend? Pat Downey. His registration on the Olympic team trials says Sanford Mixed Martial Arts.
I have no idea. Does he know?
Probably not.
Yeah, okay. So how would any of us know? I mean, I think fighting seems to suit him. And he's been talking about it a long time. He's been, it would seem like he'd be a hard person to beat up based on watching his wrestling. Absolutely. He's pretty tough. So, but I don't know. Will we see it? Maybe. I think we're more likely to see him in the cage than wrestling this weekend at 79 kilograms. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, big bet right now, Christian. Will we see him fight a mixed martial arts fight first or make 79 kg first?
All right, I want to say qualifier, make 79 and wrestle.
Okay, that's fair. Make 79 and wrestle. Competing about at 79 kg.
Yeah, I'll say no. I'll say MMA first.
Wow.
He's big. Have you guys seen Pat Downey? He's a
he's a large person.
He's a very big person. I know Some people, I don't think he's. Yeah, I think that's too big for him personally.
Okay.
Just a thought. Okay,
All right, who you picking, Gross or Soriano?
I got Soriano.
I'm gonna go Soriano.
3
James
for
Dean?
3, Soriano.
Oh boy.
Which means it's probably going to be.
Yeah, we
Seth.
messed this. I already know we messed this up. Cologne Tomasello. This is interesting.
I feel like Cologne, and I feel like he's another one that was. Hey, and this is all. I mean, this is Cologne. This is Gross. This is Graf. Nishan. I mean, so Graf and Nishan didn't even try, but they're just too big for 57. Cologne is a 61 kg. He is just too large for 57. He doesn't function well down there. He's a much better 61. I'm taking Joe Cologne.
I think I'm gonna go NATO here. I've always been kind of a big NATO guy. I know he got third, and it was like, okay, well, no one came back, but I really thought he looked really good at trials, and it made me think, okay, he still got a lot left in the tank. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go with him. Now I'm trying to remember when's the last time they have Cologne and Tomasello wrestled in the last. I don't know.
Well, I don't think Tomasello ever competed at 61.
Well,
If
but
they would
Cologne's
have,
been a mainstay at 57 as well. He's wrestled down there a lot.
Yeah, I mean more than some other people.
Yeah.
I don't remember them wrestling.
Yeah,
They
he
have
did.
not in the past couple of years.
Cologne pinned him at the Olympic trials qualifier in like 2016 in Vegas.
Man, that doesn't count anymore.
Doesn't even count. It didn't even happen. We can just scrub all our losses from 5 years ago and
That's
and
2015. 2015. That's 6 years ago. We're not counting that one.
Okay. Yeah, 2015.
You know who else Tomasello beat at that tournament?
No.
Stevan Micic.
Yes. That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Back when Stevan had American aspirations for his freestyle career.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't know. So the parterre is scary. The underhooks for Cologne. I'm just going NATO on a whim. It could go a lot of different ways.
I'm going Cologne.
James.
Cologne.
James has to go with the Iowa people.
I have to.
Otherwise, he'll lose his Corncob TV sponsorship if he doesn't stick with them. And then finally, a less hard one.
Although I will say, I do agree with you that I think NATO looked good at trials in the Oklahoma. RTC has been a good move for him, but
Yes.
got
to ride with Joey.
I mean, he's back with Lou Roselli, who was his coach at Ohio State for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think NATO's still got a decent amount in the tank. He's not old. And his style, I think, can age pretty decently. We'll see if he can still put the pace on guys like he used to. The length of Cologne could be having problems. But I'm going with him. Next match, Shelton Mack, Dayton Fix. Finally, at least for me, it's a little easier.
Easier one. Yes.
Compared to the other three. I've got Dayton Dwayne Fix as the winner.
I feel similarly. I got the same.
And JD's got Shelton Mack.
To Senior Nationals champion, Shelton Mack. But I am riding with Dayton Dwayne as well.
Dayton Dwayne. So that makes the semis. I've got it Graf versus Soriano. You guys have it Nishan versus Soriano.
Man,
So-
I was back and forth on that one.
I know. Now you're going to switch it up.
No, it's fine. I'm going to pick Soriano over either one of them in the semis, so it doesn't really matter, I don't think.
Yep, same.
Soriano had little issue with Nishan at Farrell in 20 whatever that was. So I would feel good in that matchup. I think he matches up well against Graf as well. I know they definitely wrestled at the NJRTC back in the day. And so I think Soriano's I think the toughest matchup for Soriano will happen before this matchup. If this is how the bracket plays out, I think Gross is a tougher matchup than Graf or Nishan.
I agree.
That's fair, for sure.
So I'm riding with Nick to the finals. And you guys are as well, which sets up, I've got NATO versus Dayton. NATO versus Dato. You've got Cologne versus Dayton Fix. I'll let you guys go first because that's.
I'm gonna go with Dayton on that one. I think I don't think it'll be as interesting as some Joe Colon matches because I don't think Dayton will go underneath him as much as some people do, and obviously that is Joe Colon's wheelhouse. I think he'll be able to neutralize him. Dayton's just so strong. I think he'll neutralize him in upper body stuff, get a couple scores, and win that way.
So I don't. It's strange. These guys, Joe Colon and Dayton Fix enter basically all available wrestling
Everything.
tournaments, but I don't think they've ever hit. I can't
I don't
find.
think so.
They have a billion common opponents, but I don't think they've ever wrestled each other, which is
Well,
sort of.
that's where you said Cologne has wrestled a lot at 57. He's wrestled more than some people, but I feel like I would look back at the majority of his matches as being at 61. And Dayton, I don't think Dayton's never wrestled at 61, has he? This would be the first time.
Dayton made the. What team did he beat?
Like
I thought
U23 or something.
he made like a U23 team. I think he beat Tomasello there or something like that one time.
I thought that was 57 though. Also,
You might be right.
I think
Let
it
me
was.
look, Nathan.
Yeah, I think Dayton was all 57. I don't ever remember him going up to 61 kgs. So I think that kind of explains why.
Maybe you're right.
They
No,
never
it was.
mixed
You're
it up.
right. It was. That was at 57.
That was like
61.
Rochester. I don't remember what. Yeah, it was like an October match or something to that effect.
Yeah, you might be right. I can't find an example of him at 61.
And it is kind of funny to me. Go ahead.
I think it's gonna be great for him. I'm excited to see him at 61. I think he'll have a little more.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that he's never ever really competed at 61, given the fact that he does wrestle so often, and also the fact that he competes at 133 for college wrestling. And so the fact that he's wrestled every single freestyle competition at essentially 125 pounds, but that's not where he wrestles for college. I find that kind of funny.
Yes, it is sort of strange, but I think it's gonna be good for him up at 61. Now, him versus Cologne, you've got two amazing parterre offensive wrestlers. You've got Joe Cologne's just regular gut wrench, really good. Joe probably has a little more in the way of counter offense when you're on his leg. He gets a lot of tips like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Dayton's got that as well. Dayton's more for the trap arm on top than a regular gut. Although he's got a really good gut too. I just think.
But he almost always goes. He goes gut. Starts gutting. If they open up the leg for the trap arm, he'll throw the leg in, and then sometimes he fakes like he's going to go for the trap, and then goes back the original direction. I mean, that's what he does a lot. He has a lot of success with it.
Yeah, he's amazing from that position. How come more people don't do the leg in to the trap arm?
I love it. We started doing it. I mean, Keegan does it a ton because we started just like doing a crap ton of it in our room. Because I was just watching how much success Dayton was. I'm like, let's just why don't we just do that? And the other thing is it translates over to folk style also because you can go tilt or chop, tight waist to leg in as well. So we can use it in freestyle and folk style. It's great for both. Why don't we do that? So we started doing it, and Keegan does really well, and we have a handful of other guys who are pretty darn good at it.
Yeah, there's not a ton of guys that I mean I don't see it happen a lot on the senior freestyle level. Hitting trap arms. I mean, everyone's hitting trap arms and trying to hit them as much as they can because it can be a match ender if you get to it. But
yeah,
his
I feel like
setup
it's normally off of a
is
transition, like takedown, you end up right into a trap arm.
Yes, you're right. Whereas Dayton is like, okay, I got the takedown. Now let me methodically get the boot in, punch the thing, get the trap arm, run it over. It's more of like a traditional, like this is just like a parterre sequence. So
yes, exactly.
It's really cool. I'm going with Dayton. I think he's going to be able to. I think he's going to surprisingly control center against Joe Colon. I think a lot of people would think
I feel the same way.
I think a lot of people would probably say I think Joe Cologne's going to control center here, but I just see Dayton able to do it, and then that's going to force Joe into maybe force Joe onto the clock, and maybe force Joe into some attacks where we've seen. Now that I'm thinking about it, Dayton is really good counter offense. He's not looking for exposure as much. He just like out scrambles for the takedowns. That's how he's giving Gilman and a lot of guys a ton of problems. So I see him getting some conversions off of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we all have it.
Soriano versus Fix. Oh my goodness, not again.
Is it all right? Are we finally after? I mean, this is going back from 2014 to now. These guys have wrestled each other and basically haven't had a takedown. They had the one in the 50-minute match, but and then they had the overtime.
Though, Christian.
What's that?
It's never been freestyle before.
Well, I think they've only wrestled one time in freestyle, and they were like 9. It was like the Cadet World Finals.
Well,
right?
How do you know about that? 9-year-olds are cadets now?
Bo Bassett's 9, just won a Cadet World title. I saw it.
Oh my gosh!
No,
wait, they did wrestle in cadet trials? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a terrible match. It was just like shot clock points, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think Dayton made the team off of, I think, the order in which they both went on the clock. It was really...
Wow. I wouldn't have been able to reference that match at all.
Well, it's not one that would stick out. It's more notable just that it happened. But these guys basically don't take each other down. They've never had a regulation takedown, to my knowledge. They've had the marathon match at Who's Number 1, 30 minutes. Nick got the takedown. They had the NCAA final with the takedown, whatever you want to call it. And then that's pretty much it. So they can't really take each other down. It would seem like this version, freestyle, may create some more sequences, may create some more action. Do we think it's going to be another snoozer, another boring match?
Yes. I have been on record saying anytime these two wrestle, it will be boring.
Okay. So it will be boring.
On record with that opinion.
You're on the record.
They both rely on pressure and mistakes from their opponents to create a lot of their own points. And both of them are so disciplined and so good at pressuring, they can't do it to each other. And so we end up in these snooze fests. It's terrible.
It's bad. Should we cancel the match, Ben? This could be 2 out of 3.
I'd cancel it. I would just settle it via coin flip. It was 1-1. I went and looked this up. 1-1. Dayton Fix beats Nick Soriano.
Yep. And it was only cadet trials were only one match at that point too.
At that time, yes. Yep.
So they changed. I think the next year is when they changed it. Actually,
I think because he beat Spencer Lee the next year.
Yes, he did. I think it's going to be. I think it'll be different. I feel like both guys at some point have to be
the
like
eternal optimist.
Don't let it not be said. I'm pessimistic about something. It's not this. I think between the 2 matches, 2 potentially 3 matches, there's going to be at some point they're going to have the realization like we're going to have to attack. I'm going to have to attack to win this match. I can't rely on.
But if they do that, if they become a discipline, do that, it gives the other one the advantage. So how can they do it?
Well, you have to say. You have to think that it's not an advantage. You have to think my offense can score on a person. You have to think I want to be a world champion. I need to be able to take down Nick Soriano. I need to be able to take down Dayton Fix.
Can anyone in the world take Nick Soriano down?
Yes.
Nuraslam
Sanayev, obviously.
I think multiple times at Pelican.
I think Jordan Burroughs could. Honestly.
That's funny.
Jeff Baxter doesn't see it being a snooze fest. But Jeff Baxter also said, don't be a hater, Piles. Who did I hate on?
Jeff Baxter, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right. Sorry, Jeff.
I think he was referring to Downey.
Oh,
dude,
yeah,
Dayton Fix does really wrestle in everything, though, Christian. I'm going back through his profile right now. It's like, this dude is freaking everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, he had a couple years. It was sort of strange. He had a couple he had the suspension obviously, which had him out, but he had a little time I think before that where he had been off the mat for like a couple months, which was strange because you just hadn't seen him not wrestle. But he had a couple year stretch there from basically from 2015 to I don't know 19 or 20.
Well,
he was just
back to
everywhere.
His kid stuff. His kid stuff. He's everywhere.
Yeah, it's
I'm
hard
on his schoolboy years now.
Yeah. What are you looking at that you're able to find all this?
Oh, track. I kept scrolling back.
Yeah, he's Dayton is in the streets. Okay.
Yes.
So you guys go first.
I'm gonna go with Nick Soriano.
Oh my gosh.
and it's going to be like 1-1. We may get a push out. That's what I'll give us. We may get a push out to make it 2-1 or something to that effect.
2-1, or a 1-1 failed challenge makes it 2-1.
Or maybe potentially like a late takedown, where, they're really stretching.
Dayton goes for an inside trip and then late in the match and
Turns
then
down.
Yeah. I guess gets the takedown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. James
I'm
Dean.
a little more optimistic. I think there is one takedown, like not garbage time takedown, but I think it goes to Nick Suriano and he wins 3-1 or something like that.
I've been struggling with this, envisioning like how it goes. Like who would you say style is best catered towards freestyle? Dayton.
Yeah, Dayton.
But Nick is equally catered for freestyle because there's nothing in folk style that he does exceptionally that much better. Like he doesn't have like a Spencer Lee turn series. He gets off bottom, but nothing spectacular happens there. He's not like a scramble wrestler, so there's not really a huge benefit there. So Nick Suriano is also very well suited for freestyle.
I agree.
Dayton has the top game.
Dayton has the top game, and Dayton has the counter.
But he also
game.
has a good top game in folk style, also, and he is also a good scrambler in folk style as well. So he has both of those things going for him too.
Yeah, but in my opinion, when I watch Dayton, I feel like a lot of his stuff is really catered towards freestyle, and he makes it work in folk style. Personally, so all right. So you add up all this stuff. You've got two guys that cannot take each other down. It basically never happens. Then you have one. So then you have to start. You have to start going down the list. Okay, of the attributes. All right, but then when you factor that in, do you throw out all of Dayton's top game as a result of that?
Yeah, because he ain't going to get on top of him.
So I almost thought I had logically figured out that I should pick Dayton. But then the whole reason I would pick Dayton is that he has more freestyle skills, but he won't get to show those skills.
Yeah, I mean, the argument that you could obviously make, for the person you said you wanted someone to take chances, I think is what you were saying, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And the argument you could make for someone taking chances is it's an asymmetric bet for Dayton to take a chance, because if Dayton were to end up on top, he's probably going to score a whole bunch of points, right? So the ability for him to take chances is a much larger benefit, whereas Nick Suriano, if he does get on top, is probably not going to score, right? So he's going to have a 2-point upside, whereas Dayton has, who knows, potentially 10-point upside. So if he were to take a handful of chances, say even the first two times Nick Suriano gets takedown, he's down 4-0. But the time he does get on top and it's 4-2, now all of a sudden he goes to work and he gets a bunch of points.
Yes. That's what's making it really tough for me. So I think throw out the matchup, and then you look at how have they looked in their last competitions, right? Did Dayton look great his last competition? I don't think so. It didn't look like the best version I've seen of Dayton Fix. As great as Vito is, I didn't think he looked as good as I seen him. What I saw from Nick Suriano, now I got to go back several months, but he looked amazing, and he won the bracket that Thomas Gilman, Vito Arujau, and two really tough Azaris were in. So I'm going to go with Suriano. I'm going to say 3. Dayton's getting 1. 3 matches.
Well, okay.
Going to be close. We'll see. I mean, for all we know, this is going to be a quarter. It's going to be a semi. I have no idea how they're going to seed this thing. But I would love it 2 out of 3. Just a fun
Actually, I kind of like that. And I kind of like, maybe I still go Suriano, but yeah, Dayton, I like that. Dayton takes 1 if it's in the final. I forgot that finals 2 out of 3.
Yeah, the best 2 out of 3. That'll be an exciting element. But man,
but maybe we get to snooze for 18 minutes.
Ooh, I don't think we'll snooze. We won't be snoozing.
I don't think we'll snooze either. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm into it. I know there's not going to be a lot of points produced. I know it's going to be semi-boring for most people, but I've always watched the Nick Suriano Dayton match, and I've always been interested in it, even though I know they're probably not going to score a lot of points on each other. It's just highly unlikely, but that doesn't make it not enjoyable for me.
True. Okay. So that's 61. We did 61. Do we want to save other weights? We want to do one more weight and then keep going? Because we have
Yeah, I
three
think
shows this week, right?
yes.
So we could hit 70 now if we wanted.
Let's
65,
go
I don't
70
have anywhere.
fast, and maybe we have questions for you. Oh yeah, we gotta get 65 on here. 70 is more fun for what it's worth. So let's do that.
Let's do it. Okay. The seeds, as predicted by John Kozak, Green, Pantelio, J.O., Zane, Brayton Lee, Tyler Berger, Ryan Deacon, Elroy Perkin. But I thought, did we not determine that Brayton Lee's one of his big wins was a default, not even a default, a medical forfeit? I think
I
that
don't know what you're referencing.
I think that
He's
may,
gonna get if this is the seeding, he's gonna get hammered by Zane first round anyways. So
yeah. If you get tired in matches, Zane Rutherford is not an opponent you ever want to see.
yes.
But you know what? Let's just go with it for the fun. So the quarters would be James Green versus Elroy Perkin. I think that's an easy one for me. It's not exactly Tyler Graff versus Nishan Garrett.
I love Elroy, but he's a Wisconsin boy. Shout out. But yeah, James Green is definitely the favorite.
Then Zane versus Brayton. I like Zane there in that matchup.
Yes, agreed.
Yep.
Okay,
And I don't really see a path to victory for Brayton against Zane.
I mean, Brayton's best thing is his reattack, super good. Go behind. I don't see Zane giving up a go behind or a reattack.
Yeah, I don't think so.
As good as Brayton's are, that's a tough one. That's tough for me to see. Jo versus Burt. Go ahead.
The one you were thinking about too, by the way, was Tyler Berger at Senior Nationals. Injury defaulted in the third place match to him.
Yeah, so I don't know. So why don't we switch this? I think it's going to be Berger.
But it's like if he injury defaulted, do you have to give the nod to Brayton?
They're not going to.
Why don't you count that? Because you don't give Brayton the opportunity for a win there. That's not because in NCAAs it counts, correct?
Yeah, it counts, but I think forfeits don't count for like seeding.
Injury defaults.
Injury defaults would. Was it an injury default or a medical forfeit?
Injury default.
Oh, okay. So maybe so.
DIN.
Maybe they will. I don't think you should. I don't think injury defaults should be factored in because you don't know. I just should be thrown out completely. But I don't know if they'll do that. So we'll just stick with it then. Which will give us Jo versus Tyler Berger. That's probably a Jo win, I think we're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one though. The 2-7, if this holds, Pantelio versus Deacon.
This is the most interesting match of the first round for sure.
No question. Pantelio, they've gone back and forth, but I'm pretty sure Pantelio has the lion's share of victories here. But Deacon is just a scary matchup. If he's hot, he's going to be a threat in this entire bracket. But he's also a guy that could lose in the quarters for sure. But Pantelio's been, if you're looking at the arc and how well they've been wrestling, Pantelio's coming off a win against James Green.
Yes.
That's kind of an enough said for me. And James Green at 70, who has like less than 5 domestic losses at 70. So I'll go with Pantelio over Deacon.
Yeah. Pantelio at 70 kg he's outstanding. Really good weight class for him. In freestyle, I think he's significantly more well suited for freestyle than for folk style.
Don't disagree at all. So that'll set up James Green versus Zane Rutherford as a semi. Ben Funky. Who you like? Wait, who's James Dean like in Pantelio Deacon?
He didn't pick.
I'm going Pantelio. Yep. He's hot right now.
So hot right now.
Hot.
Greasy.
Okay, I go.
Bicep.
Yeah, Green versus Zane is a really interesting match to me. Who am I gonna pick? Oof. I'm gonna go Zane for the upset. I think maybe he scores on a reattack because he is also a great reattacker. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Man, I don't know. Should I pick that? Is that really stupid?
No, it's not
I'm gonna go
stupid.
Zayn on a reattack. Zayn wins.
James.
Um,
I'm really torn on this one. Is killing me, for the record.
yes, me too. You pick first.
I'll say this. All my analysis and all, looking at the history makes me want to say James. All the evidence points to James Green in this matchup. But I don't know why. I just feel like Zayn's going to go on a run and make the team here. It's
I think
totally indefinable. There's nothing I can put my feet. I just watched him at trials. He lost to Nick Lee and Joey McKenna.
Can I add one?
Yeah.
Can I add one in here? I mean, if what this says to me, and also just what you brought up says to me, is that Zayn's not really a 65 kg guy. Is that he's grown, and he's making the move up to 70 because he does have the option. It's not like he's forced up to 70 right now. He could also wrestle 65 if he wanted to. It's that he's grown. He's not really a 65 kg guy, so he's making the move for the first time, full time, to 70 kilograms, and he's probably filled out to that weight class, and he's probably going to compete here for the foreseeable future. And that for me is a difference.
Yes. That's a factor for me too. I think him at 70 is absolutely an advantage, but it's a huge advantage for James as well.
We know James is suited for 70.
But we know James is at 70 kg. So if James had wrestled Zayn at 65 or like a 67 or something to that effect, I would kind of I wouldn't really consider that, as I don't really consider most of James's matches at that weight class. I think James is one of the best in the world at 70 kg, but I think Zayn can be also.
Yes, I agree. Oh, this is killing me. I'm gonna go Zayn.
JD?
Okay, I'll go James.
Man.
JG.
It's I don't know why. It's a weird feeling. Okay, then we got Jo versus Pantaleo. We were in agreement on that this would be the matchup.
Yes.
So they hit at the 150, and Pantaleo beat Oliver. Super close match. Jo, It seemed like he kind of waited a little too long to get his offense going. And it's always the question, like if we see the offensive Jo, I think he wins. I think he takes out Pantaleo. But if he wants to like win a chess match and like wait and like pick his spots, really, Pantaleo's gonna be tough to beat at that game. And Pantaleo was able to generate quite a few attacks against Jordan. I think he was able to be disruptive to Jordan's timing and stuff because he was able to get the legs. And he's got this. Jordan has a speed advantage against almost everyone he wrestles, but with Pantaleo, this is a guy with really elite speed. So this is always going to be a match. It's going to be really tough. I don't see Parterre factoring in really here. Maybe Jo can catch a lace, but it's going to be close. It's going to look, I think, similar to the 150 match. I just think Jo finishes one of those takedowns and gets the win. It's like a criteria 3-2, 4-3, 2-2 kind of match for Jordan, in my opinion. It's going to be well within the margins, but I'm going Jo.
I'm going to go Pantaleo because I think of that last match that they wrestled that you just referenced, that was not Pantaleo's ideal weight class. I think he'll be even better. I think the top four here, Green, Zayn, Pantaleo, and Jordan Oliver are all highly competitive at the world level at this weight class. I'm going to go Pantaleo for the win.
Yeah, I am too. I have more confidence in the best version of Alec Pantaleo showing up than I do in the best version of Jordan Oliver showing up.
Okay. So I've got Zayn versus Jo. Ben has Zayn versus Pantaleo. And James Dean has Green versus Pantaleo. So we all have three different finals matchups.
Yes.
The Jo.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go. Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna pick Zayn over Pantaleo in a very close one. Obviously, they competed in the NLWC card last year, I called it being highly competitive. You guys scoffed at me. I was correct. I see it being highly competitive again with Zayn taking a very close win.
That was a very close one. If it was Zayn Pantaleo, that's who I would pick. I have it Zayn Jo. That's an interesting rivalry because the first time they wrestled, Jo was destroying him, and then Zayn sort of came back, but Jo still won. Then they had the crazy U.S. Open match with the correct throw that like divided America. And Jo ended up winning when it looked like Zayn was going to win. And then they wrestled at World Team Trials in a weird match where it looked like Jo was going to win, and a pair of head pinches for Zayn tipped it towards him, but one of those head pinches shouldn't have counted because his foot stepped all the way out. So they have this sort of a weird rivalry where like you watch the matches and you never really know who's better because the correct throw one, you're like, okay, really, is that really 2 for Jordan? I wouldn't think so. And then you've got the best 2 out of 3.
Call ever.
Terrible. That was about actually the worst call was the
not the worst. I mean the worst rule. Okay, the worst rule. The correct throw is a terrible rule.
Terrible rule. So and then you've got the Zayn steps out and then gets a head pinch thing. Well, how does that change the match? But they also didn't throw the brick there. That was sort of weird.
Yeah.
So there were conspiracy theories about why there was no brick there. But anyways, so who do you pick? Who do you actually think is better? And
I already made a pick. You got a pick. Stalin pile.
Well, you don't have the same finals matchup as me. You don't have Zayn versus Jo. Who would you pick in that matchup? But at the end of the day, Zayn more often has gotten his hand raised. And now 2 out of 3, how do you factor that in? This is a 2 out of 3 series. There's so many variables, and they're up a weight. They've only wrestled at 65. Now they're at 70 kilograms. I'm going Zayn. Zayn in 3.
There you go.
I'm going for it.
Go for it.
James.
I think whoever comes out of top semi is who I will pick. And since I have James Green coming out top side, I'm riding with James Green.
With James Green.
I'm with you. If James beats Zayn, I think James beats Jordan.
Yes.
I think if Alec beats Jordan, I think Alec probably falls to both of those guys, even though I know he has the last win over James, but historically that's been James in that matchup, right?
That was the second time they had wrestled that day too. I think it was definitely a tournament. I think it was the same day. And James won the first one.
Right.
And
So
to me, it
even
looked like a scenario of like, I'm wrestling this guy again. Really? I got to do this. Versus Pantaleo was like, all right, I got nothing to lose now. Okay.
Completely agree. So yeah, I feel like there's like a lot of potential finals options here, and a variety. I think JO's best finals opponent it would be Zayn. I think he has the best matchup. I think he matches up better against him than James Green. Man, it's tough. These guys
put these guys in a round robin.
Well, that'd be fun. But
Best 2 out of 3 round robin every match, every series. Best 2 out of 3.
That's a lot of wrestling.
That's a lot of wrestling.
That they're so you compile all this information and it doesn't give you a clear picture here. I mean, there's not a clear. I mean, Jo I guess technically, Jo was in a bracket with Zayn and James, and he won it, right? So you factor that. Maybe that's the data point you should point to. This guy was on the team. Zayn and James were in it, and I think if you're looking for some way to logically say who's going to win, I think you could deduce Jordan, but forever.
There's so many buts you could add in after that, though.
I know, but it's a new weight. But James is finally wrestling at his optimal, not finally, but gets to wrestle at his optimal weight. Zayn's up. Who knows? Okay, fun stuff. We'll do those 2 weights. Maybe we'll go to some questions. Why don't we go to some questions? This will be fun. We have so many friends. There are questions. Is Jordan Burroughs moving up a weight for trials have a historical precedent? John, Bruce, Kenny, Dave didn't move weights, did they? Has anyone in the ballpark of world medals moved weights? Actually, So Dave
I
Schultz
have a
did
comment.
change weights and won medals at both. There's not many examples of this, of
But all
guys.
of these in this, but Christian, all of these people were in a 10 weight class era. And so, Jordan Burroughs never started in a 10 weight class era. So that, he was in the 7 and then the 6. And now finally, these years later, we have 10. So I feel like, back then there was more choices for those guys to pick from.
Yes, starting in 2002, the weights were reduced, so that you can look at some of those eras of guys. Like there's a couple of guys that made teams at different weights. Kale made teams at 84 and 97 or 6.
No.
Don't forget
Kale?
Jaden.
Sanderson,
Oh, no, he stayed.
84,
No, he stayed
86.
down, didn't he? He stayed down. So
Yes,
even he's
yeah.
not an example. Logan Stieber made a team at 61 and 65.
Yeah.
There's not
Jaden has won medals at 86 and 92.
Jaden Michael
86,
Tabori
92,
Cox changed weights, went up.
And he might go 3.
He could win medals at 3 weights. He's got to have to eventually find a way to knock off Kyle Snyder, but if he does, obviously he will accomplish that.
Man, I saw a picture of him the other day on a bike, and he looked
Lean.
so skinny. He looked lean, didn't he?
He is lean. I'm telling you. Yeah, he is lean.
Man, he looked lean.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to be for a 92.
Yeah, but does he? Man, he wrestled
Does he?
197.
Yeah.
He looked like a beast at 197 pounds. He looked
Well, he also
big.
Yeah,
He was huge.
He also wrestled 189,
Right.
86 kilograms. Yeah.
Truth. So I feel like, but you know what? Maybe not. I mean, Jaden. I know when he was at Missouri, like he would have some big cuts down to 97, like just cut it old school right up to kind of down to the wire, making weight at times there. So he's big for 92 for sure, or he can be big, but maybe he's taking a different approach and just trying to stay lean. But looking at guys who have like made multiple teams at different weights, Dave Schultz, I didn't actually realize this, but he won a medal at 82 before he won medals at 74, which I did. Did you guys realize that?
I did not realize that.
Yeah,
What was Mark at? Was there a 90 kilogram also then back then, or
no? So
how did it go?
Mark was 90. Mark was at 82 as well. So Dave got bronze in 1982 at 82 kilograms, and then went down to 74. Then his brother Mark started making teams, and made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in a row.
At 82 or at 90?
82.
Okay, got it.
Melvin Douglas is someone who made couple different weight classes. He was at 97 and 90. But yeah, not a ton but he did not medal at both. So very few examples of guys changing weights, but we have a very recent one with Jaden. But really, it's pretty unprecedented. So if he does it,
Well, hold on, you're forgetting even more recent one.
Oh,
Kyle Dake, 79, 74.
oh, true.
He didn't do it at 74.
Well,
I guess now he
bronze.
did. He just
He
did.
medaled, yeah.
He's now a
He
medalist.
is this Olympic bronze medalist.
So those guys changed weights. So there is a precedent. It's a pretty small list of people have done it. Yeah, so if he makes,
well, I mean also the total list of American medalists, especially, and then if you go American multiple time world medalist is really small also. So yeah, I mean you don't have a large field to choose from here.
no, you do not. Okay, so good stuff there. Jordan can absolutely start to cement his legacy. And it'll be interesting if he gets on the team and then medals. You know, how does that change 79 moving forward? Because then you're going to have 79 and 74. Then I think it could actually be a good thing because then people will just start wrestling wherever they really want, wherever they feel most comfortable. Because like either way, you've got a boogeyman waiting at the end of it. Whether you got to go 2 out of 3 against Jordan or 2 out of 3 against Kyle,
or David, if you're on that
Ellen-
side.
oh
of
my
that.
gosh.
Helen's done 3 weight classes too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
53, 55, 57.
She could keep
Nice.
she could keep moving up, as far as I'm concerned. She's so good. One thing, man, think about our team. we could be rolling out Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs, David Taylor, Jaden Cox, Kyle Snyder. 5 in a row.
We've rolled that team
Death
out
row.
before, though.
I know, but we could
rolled
do it. We could roll it
18
out
and
again.
No, just 18. Just 18 because 19 David Taylor was hurt.
Yes. And then
Yeah, good team.
Mason Parrish.
Too bad we can't have Gable on the end of that list.
No, but we're all so excited because he's gonna be jumping off turnbuckles. Isn't it amazing?
Turnbuckle.
Man,
Oh.
okay, listen. You see this man do a backflip. You give him some turnbuckle, some bounce, and some more height. He might do a double.
He could do a double. And you can practice and you can orchestrate it, and the guy's going to stand right where you want him to stand, and you're going to flop right on top of him. And 1, 2, and it's going to be amazing. They're going to kick out right at 2, Ben. It's incredible. Frickin' redneck wrestling.
All right.
Go Gable. I support Gable Steveson. I pick him to win all things.
Question.
Next question. Over under 0.5 Cliff Keen Wrestling Club members make the team. I'm taking the over because I got Mason Parris, and that's just there's one that gets it, and they've got contenders with Pantelio and Ringer, but that's really all you need.
I'm gonna go over because they have a few contenders there, so I think the chances they get one is relatively good.
What do you think the chances are he beats Gwiz? Do you think he's the favorite?
After watching their matches at the Club Cup, man, I feel like he's gonna be the favorite by now because he's got to. That was how many months ago was that?
That was in like February? No, it might have been November. Who even knows? I
No,
don't even know.
it was before
December.
New Year's,
That was
wasn't it?
December of 2020.
December. It was December.
See, I don't even know.
So that was we're talking 9 months. He's gotten better in 9 months. I'm taking Mason Parris.
Gwiz also teched him at RTC Cup, so do not forget about that.
He teched him, but he was also that was a crazy match.
Down like 8-0.
He
or
was
something.
It
8-2
looked like
maybe.
he looked like he was gonna get teched, and then he came back, and I think it was a lace.
But he got a lace for a crap ton of points.
Yes.
But
Laces
I'll
will.
Gwiz.
I've looked into it. Laces will be legal at the World Team Trials, so we have to factor that in.
Hey, you know what sucks? And this is Kevin Mulder's question: is that where's Michigan? I had Michigan doing a party in Detroit, trying to win an NCAA title as a team. But everyone got an extra year of eligibility, so all of Iowa's seniors would have been previously done by the time they got to Detroit. None of them would be competing. That is Spencer Lee, DeSanto, Kemmer, Marinelli, et cetera, et cetera. There's some more in there. So had that happened, Michigan had been able to convince all of their guys to continue to wrestle, Amin, Micic, et cetera, it would have looked significantly different. I don't really know how the lineup looks because I guess we still don't know. We got to assume that none of those people who I mentioned are going to be in their lineup. Massa, Micic, Amin. I'm assuming none of them are in there, right?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I know Amin is definitely considering it. When I talked to him at the Olympics, it was not something he was rolling out.
Okay.
Logan Massa, I don't know. Stevan Micic, I mean, he didn't wrestle last year. Doesn't seem like, but maybe he'll come back. I don't know. He certainly would be interesting at 133. Most of us, this is from Kenny Taylor Jr., the son of Kenny Taylor Sr., I'm assuming. Most of us believe JB will win 79 kilograms. Who will give him his closest match? So this is an interesting question because you've got the guy who beat him in the bracket, Isaiah Martinez.
Yes.
But I think it's Ringer. I think right now, 2021, I think it's Alex Deringer.
I'm going to go Ringer.
Yes.
Also.
Yep.
If I just am not, I'm kind of taking, maybe this is the wrong approach with Aymar, but let's see how he's now a full-on coach. He's at Oregon State, different training scenario. Let's see, right? Let's see.
Especially when we consider, you talk about considering some of these other guys' last performances. We consider his last performance, and it was not pretty. He was losing 8-0 to Devin Skatska. I mean, that's if we're talking earlier, we were considering Tyler Graff performances from 2019, and then you wanted to consider Dayton Fix and Nick Serrano matches of 2014. We had 2014. You guys did that.
I'm not considering it. I'm not saying like
you consider it. You brought it up.
It's a notable nugget. We could call it that. It's just like, hey, going back to 2014, they can't take each other down.
Yes. Okay, that's fair. So, anyways, we had Aymar matches in October of 2020, he did not look so great. He actually would have hit Taylor Lujan had he continued in the tournament. He decided not to. I would have been very interested. But yeah, with him full-time coaching, with kind of what happened with the Jordan Burroughs match falling apart a couple months ago, he's going to have to prove that he's all the way back.
Yes, that's kind of my thought as well. Man, this is just slap me next time you see me. But I think Starachi makes this is it really interesting in this.
Ooh, I'm interested to see where he draws into the bracket. Because I mean, hey, if he draws in and he's got Burroughs first, he ain't winning that match. But I could see him being highly competitive with most of the other guys in the bracket. Actually, he's good defensively. He's hard to score on. He doesn't really get tired. Like if he drew a Pat Downey first round.
Oh no, that was DJ Washington.
He won it.
I was thinking about
he won an overtime match.
I had the reverse.
DJ Washington got tired.
DJ got tired.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him beating Pat Downey first round for sure. Getting a big upset like that. If Imar's not in really good shape, I could see him beating Isaiah Martinez. I mean, yeah, Starachi's really good, and he's definitely, depending on where he draws in, he could be an interesting wrinkle. Is there anyone else in the? We talked about 61 also. Is there anyone else that's not in the top 8 that we should be considering?
Is Hayden's in there, right? Hayden Hidley. I think he's not in the top 8. I think he's
not in the top 8.
He's a pretty interesting guy at 79.
Marsteller.
Yeah, Chance Marsteller. There's a lot of pretty good guys. Starachi. So this is a really salty weight. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Starachi is really, really interesting. I mean, anytime you have someone that's a freestyle, he's not a novice. This guy, he wrestled in a lot of freestyle tournaments, but he's not like someone who's been like on the scene making age level teams.
Yes, making teams and stuff.
So anytime you have someone that's really hard to take down, really good positionally, and can control center reasonably well, that's a good launching point to a solid freestyle showing. So he's a definite X factor. But
for sure,
the answer is Alex Daringer, in my opinion. Okay. We got a couple Wire-related, Omar-related questions because of the passing of Michael K. Williams, because you guys know we love the show so much. And Stringer's burner phone says, which character from The Wire would have made the best wrestler had they had Beat the Streets in Baltimore at that time? I feel like Bodie was
that'd be a good pick right there.
Bodie Broadus was a tough son of a gun and had
a lot of aggression.
You love aggression, Ben.
Listen, when you see a little kid and they're really aggressive, that's an easy kid. To turn into a wrestler, that's a pretty easy kid. If you have a kid who does not have a lot of aggression, we got to build that in them over time, because a little kid who is timid is much more difficult to turn into a good wrestler. You get a really aggressive kid, because mostly if they're aggressive, they're doing aggressive shit for like 10 years. They're probably pretty strong too. And, they've been like climbing on the monkey bars, lifting up rocks, hitting stuff with sticks and whatnot. So we just got to teach them to snap down double leg quad pod. We're good to go.
Money. What's the best way to instill aggression in a kid?
I mean, this is where we get in the talent debate. It's like, I don't get every kid from the womb. I got 3 kids from the womb that I've got to kind of work with. And once you get them at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, it's not easy. Obviously, you continue to encourage that. Yeah, I mean, one of the things we do with our ninjas, that we don't throw them right into the fire, but we do have them play combative games. And it's just funny seeing kids who've never been combative before. The first time when they start experiencing that, it's like it's funny to watch, and you just got to keep encouraging them. And hey, dude, you got hit a little bit, you're fine. Get back in there. Let's go. Come on, just do this. You're fine. No big deal. Let's go. Fight again.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
got it. Well, how would you rate the aggression of your children? Obviously, Ozzy Man Strong Boy seemingly off the charts.
Oh my God, dude, we had Keegan's thing on Sunday, and there was this mom who I'm friends with, and she has maybe an 11-year-old, and I have no idea why. Ozzy just goes up and starts trying to fight her, and I'm like, hey, listen, he's kind. the mom. She, I mean, he's only up to her thighs, but he starts like hitting her thighs. I'm like, listen, he's kind of aggressive. You can just throw him on the ground or do whatever you want. He'll be fine. And so she thought it was hilarious. So she started, fighting it back. But yeah, he'll just I can literally tell Ozzy, hey, go fight that guy, and he'll just go up and start trying to punch their leg or headbutt him or single leg him, something like that. It's hilarious. But I didn't tell him on this one. He just started. I don't know. He saw she was wearing blue pants. Maybe he didn't like that or something. He went and started getting aggressive.
Okay, maybe he's
apparently he doesn't do it in preschool. I don't know how, but yeah.
That's interesting. You bring something out in him. Okay. Who's the most unexpected NCAA champ of the last decade? Either they beat an unstoppable great or they came through a bracket of hammers and they went from unseeded to mayor of the city. No one's unseeded and won NCAAs. But how you want to go from there? So
we need a list.
I have an I think going into the tournament, I don't, even though he beat, I feel like Mike Mock was one for me. Pretty big surprise.
That's a good one. Yes.
Drew Foster.
Six seed maybe?
Yeah.
Drew Foster.
Drew Foster.
For sure.
Forget it. Drew Foster.
Big one for me. Yeah, I think so.
The idea of Miles Martin not winning that bracket, because Colin Moore was the 1 seed, but he lost that year, and I'm pretty sure he lost to Mike Mock that year. So it's not unthinkable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. If oh my gosh, who pinned Colin Moore? I'm blanking on his name right now. Kent State guy.
Kyle Cannell,
yeah.
If he would have been the champ, that would have been the answer, right?
Yeah,
there.
if he'd have done it, that would have been totally insane.
But then this way, he got to beat Colin Moore twice.
Yeah, he did.
That was he beat Colin Moore twice. That is how that happened. There's something I love to be able to explain things or think about the logic. Kyle Cannell beating Colin Moore 2 times in 1 weekend is unfathomable. It didn't happen before. It will never happen again. They're not even close to the same level of wrestler. How did that happen? Not once. You happen once, I get it. Twice in 1 weekend? What the heck?
Yes, it was a major what the heck. And then but JD, you called it. Drew Foster winning that weight. I just did not see that coming at all. I mean, obviously Max Dean had the toughest aspect of that, beating Miles Martin. At least the least likely thing to happen.
He alley-ooped so that Foster could claim it home.
He allied so Drew could oop. But so that's got to be the biggest surprise. Okay. Well, shoot, 9:43. Why don't we beat it?
I drank my whole cup of coffee and I got a piece so bad, bro.
Nah, we know, man. It's just something to be unsaid. We know from 9:02 on, you're holding it, and you know what? You're a tough guy. You're not like Wayne Boffman. You can't let.
Wayne Boffman.
That guy made it till 3. If you don't know who Wayne Boffman is, that guy held his pee till 3 o'clock. So anytime you think you're tough, you start holding it till 3. Then we can talk about it. For James Dean Rader, Ben Funky Asker, I'm Christian Piles. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll eat tacos. James Dean will be back from Parts Unknown. So we'll see you guys then. World Team Trials Week. Goodbye. Ben is gone. Look at him. Just out.